and then get started. Okay.
So Palani, you're gonna start something so that we can just take up from there.
Yeah. So the flow will be like this. Like I will try to give a quick intro, and then over to you. Like you can drive the
Yeah,
conversation.
sure.
I can be a
Definitely.
moderator at the back.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So people are still joining. Maybe let's get started. Then uh, you can raise your questions then and there. You can stop us wherever you want. But then I would like to start with a quick intro, and then would like to hand it over to Sai and Patrudu, who are the experts in test automation and other products. And they are also the UiPath MEPs. Will be giving us some guidance on how to clear the test automation engineer certification. Okay. So let me just share my screen. Okay.
In case if someone asks the question, right, like they cannot ask the question because attendees cannot unmute.
Okay.
So that is the challenge one we have in this platform.
I think they can still
So
raise it in chat, I guess. So I can take it from the chat. So I being the
yes,
moderator, I
yes,
can take
perfect.
that. No problem.
Yeah,
Or
perfect. Yeah,
if I need your advice, I will also pitch in there, and then you
yeah,
can share your thoughts.
yeah, perfect. Yeah,
Great. I hope you can see my screen.
yeah, yes,
Okay, I'm getting to the presenter mode. Can someone confirm? Yeah.
yes, you are.
All right. So thank you so much, everyone. We are in the final session of our test automation engineer series. I see many people joining all the sessions consistently. I appreciate your interest towards this product. I also see many new people for each and every session. That shows the interest, the passion towards the technology. So today we'll be looking at how to clear the test automation engineer professional certification, because many are working as a testing engineer, but they are aspiring to be a test automation engineer certified person, but they are looking for guidance like that. So here we have brought two experts from that field who have recently cleared the certification with almost like 95% and over. So we thought, okay, it would be really nice if they can share their experience or the preparation what they followed. It would be really helpful for many of us. So I would like to start with our community introduction on a brief note for our pack. It's our Rohit and Vibor who is leading it. This is for someone who is very new to this community and who has joined the session. And then on a quick introduction, along with Lalasa and myself, we lead chapter leads, and we have also our co-host Alan and Sham who leads the Kerala chapter. So if you have anything to deal with contribution or how to contribute and all those stuff related to the community, you can reach us anytime through LinkedIn. And for today, we have Sai Kiran and Patrudu who will be the speakers for us. Thank you so much, Sai and Patrudu, for sparing your time. I highly appreciate, and then you're always like you rock with whatever you do in terms of the contribution to the community. And thanks for uh, joining us in our session for Chennai chapter as well. Thank you so much. And again, I know like many people find it very often with these series, but I like to take a chance to reach people who are new to this community
Palani, I think we have lost you in the middle. Patrudu, can you hear anything what Palani is speaking?
No, I lost from Palani, and I thought I refreshed my page, thought like I lost it.
No, no, no.
Okay.
I think he was just sharing on the things. Can we take up from here, or else like can we just wait for Palani to join?
Just wait for a couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, and then we will continue.
Let's just give us a couple of minutes. I think we just lost Palani in the middle. So when he joins back, we'll just kickstart our actual agenda, what is scheduled as part of the things. Just give us one more minute. Yeah, Palani, I think you are able to hear us, right? Can we continue from here? Can we take up? Okay, okay. You're good with your slides. Thank you. Okay, let me just share my screen. So, can anyone please confirm my
Yes, we can
screen?
see your screen.
That's great. Okay, fine. So, very warm welcome, everyone. Good evening, good morning. Thanks for joining for this session, who are part of this particular series from various parts of the globe. Yes, we came to last part of our sessions related to the test automation engineer part and all. So where our major agenda is to talk mostly how you can master something that was related to the test automation engineer professional exam and all, or the certification. So that's our major agenda. So that is where we want to just bring our expertise and all. Before just going with the things, we just want to introduce out about ourselves. Yep, myself, I'm Saikran Konditi, having overall like 7+ years of experience with the IT industry. And relevant to your path or RPA, I have like 4+ years of experience. So presently, I'm working as senior software engineer at Security Hyderabad, and also like I'm active UiPath community member from last 3-4 years, and I've been recognized as most valuable professional for the year 2024 from UiPath, and also I'm a certified advanced UiPath developer as well as a test automation engineer. And I also have interest in sharing my thoughts in terms of blogs, in terms of creating content across YouTube and all these things. You can still follow me on those platforms. Yeah, Patu, you can just introduce about yourself so that we can just go
Um,
ahead.
Hello everyone. Myself Patrudu. I have overall close to 10 years of experience, and into RPA I have 7 years of experience. And currently work RPA in the sense like it's purely on UiPath. Currently I'm working as an associate technical architect at Test Technologies, and I was selected as UiPath MVP 24 for the product UiPath Test Suite. And also I'm certified UiPath Test Suite, Advanced Developer and Architect, and Specialized AI. So yeah, that's all about me. And also I lead the UiPath community chapter Vizag, and I own my YouTube channel Skill RPA, like where you can find the content around UiPath products and test suite. Yeah, that's all about me. Over to you, Sai.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks for introduction. Yes, so let's try to understand what are the different UiPath certifications that UiPath has provided and all. So we can see here there were two categories under the certification program from UiPath. So one is the professional and the second thing is associate. And also you have two categories for the core and specialization. Under the core you have the business analyst, you have the automation developer and the solution architect, and under the specializations you have two things or two categories. One thing which will talk about the AI part, and the second part is something about the test automation, right? So when you're trying to consider about the specialization certifications and all, So the category which we gonna discuss today is something that was related to the test automation. So as per the agenda, we'll try to understand who is actually a test automation professional certified, who can just do these things, what are the criteria, what products are covered inside that, how you can ace this exam with the expertise or the guidance or the strategies from what we have followed and all, right? But still we just want to bring things into notice that if you are trying to just do something related to the specialized AI associate certification, your path is still providing 50% offer on the or the discounts on the vouchers till this month end August 30th. You can just still have the 50% discount voucher. And also if you're already UIRD, so you recently URD has been updated to UIADP. If you're already URD certified, you can still get 50% voucher from the UiPath, where you can get it for the UIADP till November 2024. Okay, so these were two things I just want to highlight. If you look for some sort of certifications, yes, these were the available certifications that were available, right? You have around like 7 options. If you are at a entry level, just go with associate. If you are advanced level developer and all, just go with developer, then the solution architect. So if you're trying to look for some specialization, just go with the specialized in the test automation. And if you're purely from the discover phase, where you deal with the business in terms of requirement gatherings, all these things, yes, this is the best place for getting a business analyst certification and all. So these were the different options we have. But today's agenda, since we are having a series of the test automation engineer, yes, we gonna cover on these things. But you have any doubts on these other certifications, you connect to us, or you can just ping us, or you can take help of the community in getting some information out of it. Right. Right. So these were the exam details. You might be having some doubts like what is the validity of this particular examinations and all. So based on recent things, you can have a 3 years validity for the exam. Let's say that you have given your exam tomorrow. You from the date of your exam result, you can have validity for 3 years, right? So certification track is you can see the name as the credential as UiPath Certified Professional Test Automation Engineer Professional version 1.0. And prerequisites, yes, you don't have any sort of prerequisite for writing this exam. For example, let's say, what is this prerequisite? Let's say you are trying to write some solution architect, you have some 10 years of experience. So directly you cannot write the solution architect exam. First of all, you need to at least clear the UIDP. If you are having a UIDP certification only, you are eligible for the solution architect. For this test automation professional certification, you don't have any sort of such prerequisites, so you can directly write for this particular exam. So one important thing you need to consider, it's a 2 hour exam and the passing score is 70%, where the exam fee is $150 and the taxes depends upon the country you are trying to write with, right? So this is something related to the exam details which we want to go with. Now, so you might be having some doubts like, hey, what is this TAEP is nothing but so test automation engineer professional. So what is this certification? So this certification is a credit that represents building AI-powered, data-driven test automation solutions, having extensive knowledge and skills in independently building or leading production level end-to-end testing workflows using test manager, studio, or UiPath orchestrator. So when you're talking about the testing, it's not only about testing relating to your RPO workflows, but also we try to bring application testing also into this particular what I can say the skill set here, right? It's not only just creating test cases, a test plan, running those things, but here we are something that was related to AI powered driven testing automations, which is very much important being a test automation engineer here, right? Fine. So, who are the target audience for this particular certification? Who can just try to go with this particular certification? Is this something that is for all the individuals, or else like only some people can just go with? So, if from a technical roles requiring test automation expertise, where it involves a test automation developer, test automation engineer, or the specialist manager, or a QA engineer, or QA, or a test architect, even the process automation architect is the best target audience for this particular certifications. So where it involves testing in terms of analysis, architect, and also managing the things, yes, definitely those were the target audience. But still, even the UiPath developers or the automation developers can also be uh, applying for this particular certification, right? So when we are trying to talk about this certification, so who can just try to go with the certifications, or else like who we suggest basically as a prerequisite for taking up this exam. So let's say that you have only 1 year of 1 month of experience, and your organization is looking for uh, having you as a test automation engineer certified. Yeah, that's not a good advisable thing. We try to suggest like, or else like UiPath is suggesting for people who is having at least 3 months of automation developer, where you have an expertise in the UiPath studio, and at least 6 months of experience as a test automation developer, where you have a very good knowledge on applying testing best practices and all, and also equivalent skills and knowledge gained from taking the introduction to automation explorer learning plan, automation developer associate training from the UiPath Academy. So if you are a starter and looking for these certifications, please do make sure that you have some clearance in the UiPath Academy certifications too, which is free of cost again. So these certifications which I was talking, or the plans you out too easily is the things. So technically proficient and possess the knowledge skills to work independently. Yes, if you are individual contributor, that will be adding more sense for gaining some expertise in this particular domain. Right. So what were the products that were covered as part of these particular certifications? So these were the four products with this particular versions. That is a revamp for the latest thing. Earlier it might be with the 2021.10 versions or 22.10, but recently it's been updated. Well, all the certifications are updated with this version of 2023.10, where the products covered on this exam include test manager, studio, test robots, and the orchestrator version of 2023.10. So these were the four products that were covered as part of the like as part of the certification questions and all. So you might be getting questions related to mock testing. You might be getting questions related to RE framework. You might be getting questions related to how you see the test results or the descriptor coverage and all these things. But mostly on this sort of concepts, not apart from this particular concepts. So let's say that you are having a specialized AA, it might be covering communication mining, all these things, or the document understanding part. But here you are majorly concerned or concentrating only. Okay. So when coming to topics or sessions, so you can have these particular 8 or 9 sections that were covered as part of the particular test automation engineer professional. So which talks about the test suite architecture and API integrations, which talks about when we are talking about studio, so where we'll try to see about the testing panels and the templates, and the test activities and the workflow best practices, and the data driven testing. See, when you're trying to go with the data driven testing, you basically use the studio platform, right? And the UiPath test suite, where you also utilize the orchestrator for running your test sets or scheduling your test sets and all these things. UiPath robot for the running your particular test scripts. UiPath test manager for managing all your testing related sort of activities and all these things, CI/CD implementation and the testing process. Right. Sections you can see. and this is where your major key concern should be there, not on other concepts. But so we will try to just give our experience here, or the expertise which we have gone through as part of the particular what I can say, writing this particular test automation engineer certification or the professional certification. So I hand over the session to Patlu, where he will try to discuss more about this particular sessions, and finally we'll try to see what are the other platforms where we can just utilize to make sure that you're having a hands-on experience on this particular concepts, or else like where I can just have this academic courses, or else where I can have this practice exams and all these things once we have something having an insights on these particular sections. Yes,
Uh,
Patlu, I think you can just take
yeah,
up.
thanks, Kiran. And so, whenever you're getting ready for the exam, or like if you are planning to give the exam, uh, I'm audible, right, Kiran?
Yes, yes, you're
Yeah.
audible. You're audible.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. So the most important thing is like what I observed when I am giving the UiPath test suite exam is majority of the questions, I can say close to 60% are like more of a practical driven questions. And practical driven questions in the sense it's not more about like logical or something, but unless and until if you use the product, it will be hard to answer those questions. And we have UiPath test suite architecture, where we have UiPath Studio, we have UiPath Test Manager, and we have UiPath Test Manager Connect. So we have all these, even the CI/CD implementations. So we will be cover UiPath test suite exam will be covering all these. And when it comes to the studio, like how we will be publishing the test cases, and how we are going to build our test cases, and how we are going to create, and how we are going to um, invoke the workflows, or from workflows to test cases, how we are going to convert. So those we will be covering in the UiPath test suite examination. And most of the major challenge, or like the people who will be like giving the exam, will be facing more towards the test explorer panel and data driven testing in the studio. So these two are the major topics when it comes to the UiPath studio, when you are trying to give the exam. So how the questions will be is like when you are testing your test cases from the studio, or executing test cases from the studio, how actually it works both in the data driven testing and the single test case executions. So let us assume that you are testing a scenario where you are utilizing the data of 3 to 4 data variations, right? And when you try to run the test case from the test explorer panel, it will be executed as 4 test cases. Not four, it will be executed as 4 test cases in the sense it will be executed 4 times, right? So that's how the execution happens if you run it from the test explorer or a data driven testing. So questions will be towards it, like you will be having a image given in that, where you will be having your test case, and under that like you can see the sub test cases when it comes to the data driven. So the question will be on that, like what actually does it represent. So there are 3 sub-test cases under the parent test case with the data variations. So questions will be more of your execution point of view, and your data driven testing point of view, how what are the different data sources you can connect, both from the studio or even in the unattended execution of your test cases. And also how the test explorer options, what are the different options you have. So when you are executing your test cases, how you can execute, like whether we can execute all the test cases at one go, or if you have some failed test cases or some past test cases, when you how can you execute only failed, or how can you execute all these. So these all are the one a couple of properties what we have under the test explorer panel. And also we can see the test explorer panel, we can see how many test cases are got passed and how many test cases are got failed. And even we can publish these results, test results, from the studio to UiPath Test Manager, even if you execute it on UiPath Studio. So the questions will be more towards that, in terms of your focus area should be like one of the focus areas should be your test explorer and the data driven testing from the studio perspective. And also there will be some questions about the object repository, because whenever you see the testing, how it actually happens, any automation tool, right? Initially you will be knowing about the test concepts and the tool, or whatever the tool or a program, the capabilities of that product. And then obviously you need to build your automations when it comes to the automation testing. So it can be UI testing, or it can be an API testing, or it can be a database testing. So when you are going with the UI testing, so the descriptors, UI elements or object repository plays a major role, right? So when we build the automations and we try to execute it, so we will be need to look at the coverage also. So in automation, normal RPA automation or normal automation, the coverage actually doesn't matter. But when it comes to the test automation, the coverage matters. The reason is you need to test both the positive and negative scenarios for anything, right? So you should not miss out anything, even a corner cases. So the descriptor coverage or the test coverage, this actually plays a major role in order to identify whether our testing is fulfilled or with all the possible scenarios or not. So that's how the test explorer or activity coverage will happen. So everything will fall under the test explorer, and along with that you should be good with the object repository, where you can see some it is very less questions, but you should be aware of the object repository in a proper way in order to go for it, right? And also in terms of project templates, you will be getting about more about like what is BDD, behavior driven uh, test testing, right? So it is more of BDD template. They will ask questions. It is not that much high, but when it comes to the template, not at the project level, you need to look at your templates of workflow level and test case level and execution templates. So even those are much more important. You'll see some questions on uh, workflow templates, test case templates, and execution templates. These are a sub templates what we can define as part of our project. The test case templates and the workflow templates will help you to accelerate your implementation, whereas the execution templates will help you in terms of testing or execution of your tests, right? So even those project level, not only the project level, you should be knowing about the test templates in the inside of the project as well. So these are much more important when you are giving the exam, right? So Kiran, can we go to the next? Yeah. So along with that, we need to be knowing about like how the API integrations of UiPath test suite with the ALM tools. So there are two types of integrations available, two types of things here. One is there is a third party plugin where we have an act as an integration between the UiPath test manager and the ALM tools, which is called as a UiPath test manager connect. And also there are some out of the box connectors which will integrate with DevOps or Jira, and these are all will be in the settings panel where you have. So you just have a glance on the settings panel to know about this integrations, and also like user management also will be done from there. So if you see the orchestrator, you will be having the user access management at folder level and tenant level. But when it comes to the test manager, access will be managed at the project level. So under the project settings only, you will be having this user management. Even that is also important. Like you'll be, it is a very minor topic. You just need to have a glance, and you'll get one or two questions from there. Yep. Go to the next. Yeah, one second. I think I missed out one point here. The API testing. So when it comes to the API testing, apart in UiPath Studio, generally when we are trying to do a API automation, we will directly use the HTTP request and call on your endpoints in order to fetch the result details, right? But when it comes to the API testing, it is a slight different. You can achieve that with the HTTP request also, but there is an advantage in UiPath test suite. where when you create a test automation project, you can directly import your Postman collection or a Swagger file directly into your UiPath Studio. And once you connect these services, it will be part of your services. Once you connect it, automatically you can see those details back into the activities panel. So API testing is much more easier when it comes to the UiPath test suite. And in terms of if you create an RE framework project or any normal project in UiPath Studio, you will not find this option. But if you create a test suite, test automation project, you will find this option directly importing of the Postman collection or a Swagger file in order to speeden up or utilize the existing collection of your API testing. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, one more thing is like when we are using UiPath Studio, we have a lot of plugins or a lot of activities. We have connectors to different applications and all these details. But there is one more package which is got added specifically for UiPath test automation. So when we say UiPath test automation, specific activities, one is the assertion activities, where we need to compare or we need to give the assertions of our execution of test cases. In testing, in automation testing or in any testing, right? We will be choosing actual and expected values, right? So that assertion we will be achieving with the help of verification activities, which is under the testing activities package. And along with that, we have some activities which are related to the documents and all. So in case if you want to add some supporting documents to your testing project or in any of the test cases or something, right? So in that case, we will be using this attached document activity. So there will be one question I have seen, like when I have given the exam on that document activities. What will happen in case the size limit exceeds the acceptable size limit, right? That is one I have seen. And the other is kind of what happens if you use the or something on the activity on the documentation. And also we have some activities which under the testing pack itself, like which will generate some data for you, a realistic test data in terms of people names or addresses by selecting your country, state and region and everything, and some random values to be utilized as part of your testing, utilized for a realistic data generation of cases. Let us consider that you are building a test automation on a Salesforce application, a CRM application, where you may need to create some contact information of the customer, or we need to add the customer, right? So in such a scenarios, this name, person names and addresses, these things will help you to generate some data as part of your testing, right? So these are one of the focus areas, active verification activities and document related, and also in terms of test data generation. And also there is something called mock testing. And mock testing is majorly will be using it for RPA testing. So there will be some questions around, one or two questions around the mock testing as well. So you need to cover the mock testing concepts as well. Just go. So CI/CD implementation and testing process. So everyone is well aware of the importance of CI/CD when it comes to the testing, right? So as soon as there is a check-in happened onto the main branch in a GitHub or in a Git or in a Azure repo or anywhere, right? So as soon as the check-in happened, so it should trigger our test set. The reason is even if it is a minor change, but the expectation is to execute the regression suite, right? Regression suite in order to enable this CI/CD, so that the people will get the test results immediately instead of having a human intervention to trigger your test cases. So the CI/CD is I'll say it is much more important in case of testing, but I say that in least priority item than you're preparing for the, because hardly you'll see 2 questions, not more than that. I that's what I feel, and it is having a very less weightage when it compared to your uh, automation testing with studio. So these two concepts plays a very major role compared to any other things. So this is a very less important topic in terms of when it comes to the perspective of the exam, though it is a very high priority where customers. So one understanding of it, when you are preparing for the, keep this as a least priority topic when you are preparing for the exam. Yeah. So when it comes to the UiPath Studio or data-driven testing, what are the different? So you need to focus, or you need to practice in such a way that for each of the test cases, how you are going to add the data from different data sources. So you can add the data from data file, Excel file. You can add the data from data services, and you can auto-generate the data. So these are the different options already available in order to add the data. And also you can upload the file, and you can add the data source of the file, and you can create the test from there itself, right? So all these options you need to explore in driven testing, how you are going to play with your data in terms of your testing. So what are the different data sources you have, and how we can create the test data queues directly from a data source file from the studio itself, and what how we are going to add the data variations to execute, right? So all these are in UiPath Test Manager. How we will be connecting UiPath Test Manager to UiPath Studio, and how it is going to work. So all these are play some important role. Yeah, Kiran.
Yeah, just to add on here, when you are trying to do the testing here, let's say that there is a test case scenario where you are trying to check the functionality of the particular process here. Okay, so when you're trying to achieve that, you're trying to go with first of all creation of your test case. I'm like, you create a workflow and you convert that to a test case. And when you're trying to test a particular test case here, you can pass the test case data by just passing the values through an arguments, or as like if it is you want to see a different data variations, you can just pass Excel as your data source. And also you can also utilize a test data queue, and also you can utilize various different sources as well. Yeah, I think you can just continue, just want to add on. Yeah, Patru, I think you can continue here.
Yeah. So yeah, Kiran, can you go to the next slide?
Yes, yes, it's the next slide, but I think it's the heading is different. It's your studio
So when
orchestrator.
you are talking about sorry.
Sorry, I was saying that the subtitle is like for the UiPath Studio Orchestrator. I'm like UiPath Test Orchestrator.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I got able to
Okay.
see. Yeah, yeah.
Parther, I think you can continue. Sorry, we have just lost your voice. Guys, just give us one moment.
If you have any queries, you can put it in the chat so that we can try to address it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Muddy, we can hear you.
Perfect. I think I'm not sure why I lost the video, but I joined from my mobile.
Yeah,
So
that's
hope everyone can hear me out. Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So till now we talked about the data driven testing or testing with UiPath Studio and different features we have in terms of Test Explorer and all this. Now, if we consider the testing with UiPath, testing in perspective of UiPath Orchestrator, where our robot is going to get connected. So till now we talked about the connection between the UiPath Test Manager and Studio and how we will be uploading the results. And we covered these aspects. And if you consider uh, the UiPath test orchestrator in terms of testing, your orchestrator will be the middle point or middleware between your UiPath test manager and the test robot. So whenever the robot execution started in an unattended mode, not with the UiPath Studio, so how it will go is it will update the test results back into orchestrator, and that will be uploaded back into the test manager. So it will behave as a middleware between your test manager and robot. And also we talked about the data driven testing with the different data sources when we are talking about Studio, like file data services and all. So to easily manage, here we have the test data queues. So we will be leveraging UiPath test data queues in order to ex- go with our data driven testing. So we will be having some specific JSON to be defined, and there will be some questions around the test data queues as well, because that is utmost important topic and easy to handle your data driven testing, right? So this is one of the area which we need to consider, and also how we are going to execute our test cases or test sets from the orchestrator. So there will be a couple of questions there, and how the test results are passing between the UiPath robot to orchestrator and then to test manager. So the test execution results that you can see only in the test manager. But if you go to the details page of your test executions from the UiPath orchestrator, there also you can see your test execution results. And whatever you're seeing in the test manager, that is more of a visual representation for the users and users. But as a developer, we can even see it in the UiPath orchestrator as well. And whenever you are trying to execute any of the test sets, right, that will actually triggers your UiPath orchestrator. And let us assume that there is a test case execution happened for a test set, from where it is got executed and who executed. All these details are available in UiPath orchestrator. Okay. Yeah, Kiran, can we go to the next slide? So you covered test manager also in the same slide.
I think this is the different slide. There were two slides which talks about the test
Yeah,
manager.
thanks, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So in terms of test manager, right, I can say you'll get almost 40%, 40 to 50% questions from the test manager, different configurations, and what are the different accesses we discussed, right? Like in terms of user access management under the settings at the project level we need to do, and how the test sets are can be in kind of linked from orchestrator to UiPath test manager, and how the integration between the test manager and ALM tool happens, and how we can view the results. So these are the main focus areas, how to evaluate your test results from the UiPath test manager along with screenshots and all, and also managing your test cases, managing your requirements, and creation and managing of your test sets. So and also there is one more thing, like how you can execute your test cases in a proper order. So enforcing the order of execution of the test cases and everything we manage from the UiPath test manager. One simple thing which is like we feel that it is not much more important is the custom fields. So when we are publishing the projects in even in orchestrator also, we will see that there are something labels or something, right? So labels or custom fields, we will ignore those topics, but we need to focus on that as well, because there are some questions around that concept as well, right? And also there will be a couple of questions on like best practices to be followed to implement UiPath test suite or a test automation. So we need to go through the best practices. And when we see about when we talk about UiPath Test Manager or Test Suite, so mostly we will be talking more about the UiPath Test Manager, Studio, and Orchestrator and ALM tools integration, right? And no one will be talking about UiPath Task Capture. No one will be talking about you have a task capture, and we will not even consider it, but there will be a question on it. And the reason is, in UiPath test manager we have two types of test case testings. One is the manual and the automated, right? For manual, it will launch your task capture in order to create the steps and generate or create the test cases by manually identifying the steps, right? So you need to just have a look at the manual testing, so that like you will get to know about what is the role of task capture in terms of your automation testing or as part of our test suite. So it is a I have seen one question, I guess, on task capture as well. Yep. Yep. So when we talk about the test manager, right, like always like we will get come across the requirements, test cases, test steps, manual steps, and how we can execute the manual steps, how we can execute the automated steps, test cases or test sets, or how we are going to trigger it, right, the executions and viewing the test results. But focus more and more, though we have very less uh, fields in UiPath test manager, but there is a lot of concept there. And I have seen that couple of scenarios, right, in orchestrator. If you have a duplicate test cases, how it actually happens, right? And when you're publishing the test cases, how actually, what are the different steps you need to take when you're publishing it from studio to test manager, right? And how we will be connecting test manager to UiPath studio, right? And also how we will be executing test sets created in UiPath test manager. Because interest you have a test manager, right, you will not find anything robot or anything, but how it is getting executed on the robot when you trigger it from UiPath test manager. It will be sending the signal to the test set which is there in the UiPath orchestrator, and from there it will be taken further, right? And also there is when you execute a test set, you'll be having the test results at a test set level and test case level, and all the test cases executed. Let us assume that you executed a test case 1, and if you execute 10 times, you'll see the test results under the test results under the test case as well. So from where we will be looking at test case results and analyzing the things. And also on the home page of UiPath Test Manager, we can see the KPIs of our test executions. How many are got tested, and how it is the coverage, and how many are got failed, and how many are untested. So we can see all the KPIs, and there will be couple of questions on the KPIs of UiPath Test Manager as well, right? And in terms of re-execution of the test cases, like there will be some test cases already executed or passed, and some are got failed. So how we can execute only the failed test cases, the re-execution of the test cases. And you got a test results, and there is a possibility of overwriting the test cases as well. How, in case like if you analyze the test results, and if you thought that like test cases worked exactly as expected, but there is something problem with our test case development, so you can override the existing test cases, test case results. And also you can create the defect from the test manager to the ALM tools. So there will be a couple of questions on top of that as well. Yeah, can you go to the next, Kiran?
Yeah,
Yep.
I think
From here you can take it up, Kiran.
yes, yes. So, as I just want to reiterate that see, whatever the things comes, these were the exam sections you need to cover. So based on our experience, like we can say the UPAC test manager plays a major percentage of the questions. Let's say like at least 30 to 35 to 40% of questions comes from the UPAC test manager. And the second weightage we can just try to give for the UiPath Studio, where it also covers about the testing panels, test activities, and the data-driven testing. So that's the second category, or I can say the part which you need to concentrate more, where you can see at least 30% of the questions covered, where the remaining part will be mostly about the test suite with the orchestrator, the test suite architecture and the integrations, how the UiPath robot comes into picture, the CI/CD implementation, and the testing process. A normal testing process, like let's say you are running a regression pack, but let's say I want to run only on the particular functionality. How you can do that? Basically, you can do it through a tag. So when you're creating a test cases, you can try to create a test cases where you can just use a tag to attach to those test cases, and where you can create a test set based on the test tags and all. So those were the new features I can say, and also utilization of, where we can say, consumable and non-consumable queues and all, which plays a very crucial role, because every time you cannot upload test data to the queue and test it again. If it is a constant data where your regression pack runs, yes, you can use a test queue where you can say it as non-consumable, so that it won't be updating the status of the particular queue items there. So that is one of the important topics which there when you are trying to go for the testing implementations and all. And these were the things or the domains that was covered as part of the things. So I think we covered most of the scenarios that we have foreseen as part of the testing part. And these were the recommended trainings, or where you can gain some hands-on experience. First thing is something you can have the UiPath Academy test automation engineer training available for public in UiPath Academy. But also you can also get it from the partners. If you are a UiPath partner, you can have it in your partner portal, which is recently added for this certifications or other sort of things. And also there is some sort of a practice test. So once you feel that okay, I have covered all the sessions, or else you want to first of all experience how the exam or the certification looks like, you can just have a practice test. And based on the practice test, you can understand okay, what is the difficulty of the examination and all, and which concepts or areas which you need to cover and all, right? So when you are talking about the what I can say, the practice test, I'll show you the link for the same, which is for the practice test. I think there is one link here. So where it will be talking about the practice test, yes. So this is where you just need to provide your details. Let's say I'm trying to just write the practice test here. So you can just try to provide the same. So you can just provide these details for writing your practice test, and it will be coming with something around. Uh, so as we are saying, like these were the products that was covered. Start answering the questions. Yes, so this is how your questions will be there. It covers almost 56 to 60 questions based on all the concepts. It is something like a real time things where you can just go with for the practice of your particular exam and all. So this is one thing we just want to highlight. You can also utilize a practice test. And yes, as I was saying, this is available for the public, nothing but anybody with the UiPath Academy single sign-on access can register for this particular course. Yes, you can go with this particular thing. So this is the course which will help you to go with the different certification programs. So let's say that I want to just go with what I can say, this test automation engineer. So we can just try to learn something on this particular test automation engineer certification, right? So this is the training we suggest for you to go if you're trying to go with the test automation engineer certification. So this will help you for acing your exam, because like most of the concepts of particular exam comes from this particular training itself, right? But it's not only just having some theoretical knowledge. Try to gain some insights by trying those features, because test manager can also be enabled for the from the orchestrator, where you can utilize for the general availability and all these things, where you can just have some hands-on when you're talking about creating a test set, when we're talking about analyzing the test results, when you're talking about the tags, when you're talking about the test queues, how you try to just utilize the JSON and all these things, all the concepts, what we are trying to say. And also you can try to explore more on the testing activities, which was covered already, where it talks about verifying your assertions, utilizing these test activities for creating your test data, which comes handy when we are trying to create some flows for the automation functionality and all these things. Yes. Right. So this is something we just want to bring as part of our experience or the strategies which we want to cover as part of the test automation engineer professional. If you have any queries, any things, you can please ask us. We are ready. I'm like we are open for the queries and the discussions on the same. And I just want to say, like, I think Pathur is the second person who has cleared this certification globally. But it was on the same day where the first person, I'm like, today, like, tomorrow, the next day, Pathur has given this examination, because he has very good expertise working on the test suit and all. Yes, later I also works on same organization, Signity, early. We're also from the testing background. That's the reason why I also just took the examination. But after which I have gained a lot of experience going through the training and all these things, which has really helped me even doing the projects related to the testing. Yes. So that is what we want to share our experience, or provide you some strategy, or what are the plan we have just followed as part of the particular examination. Yes. Anything you want to add, Pathudu? Or
I think, yeah, we are good. And now we are open for the questions.
yes.
Yes, thank you so much. So, yep, just please feel free to put it in the chat. I see a question from Miguel already. I think it got responded by Patrul. Is there any
Mhm.
other question?
I think we are just to add what Pathudu has said. Yes, we at present only for the specialized day you have 50% voucher till this month end. I'll share you that particular screen also. Let me just quickly go through. Mm, yes. So this is what it says. Yes, this is what I was trying to say. If you can see my screen, this is what a specialized day, a 50% discount is there. And also, if you're already URD certified, okay, so URD was there way ago, right, from 2020 or 2019. We have this certification, but now it's revamped to like it's been updated to UIADP. But if you're already UIRD, but you want to go with UIADP certifications, you can see that till November 30th, you have an opportunity to get the 50% discount voucher on the same. If you're already URPA, UIRD certified, but you want to update through UIDP, yes, you can request for a 50% discount voucher. But if you're directly writing for the UIDP, ADP, and you don't have the other certifications, so no certification voucher is available. Okay. And also there is some interesting session that was planned to just showcase something that was related to your path autopilot for the test suite. Please do register for this session. It's part of I think autopilot upcoming events. So let me just open that. Let me just see for the 31st. Just give me one moment. Yes. So this is one of the session by Pathrudu, which was hosted by the Visakhapatnam region. So you can also register for this particular event. We are happy to share more info on this autopilot feature for the testers, where you can generate the code, where you can also generate from the requirement, like from the requirements to the test cases generation, all these things. It's a very interesting session. You can just register where we can see the AI powered of the autopilot features. I think the speakers path to do. You can register for this event and the link for the same is provided. Okay, fine. That's great. That is what we just want to showcase as part of the session. If we are not left with any other questions or Palani, you want to add something to it, please do add.
Yeah. So no, I don't have anything to add. I think it was a very good informative session. Thank you so much, Patridu and Sai, for joining us. And then, guys, like we have, as Sai mentioned, we have a session on August 21 on the autopilot features with test suite. So if you're looking for how those functionalities work in terms of generating it in a test case, validating, evaluating, and then, well, I mean, like preparing the reports and then coded automation with autopilot, you can just join and explore it a lot. So there are so many good features coming from AI or autopilot in test suite along with test manager in studio. It'll be very interesting. So please do register and make use of it. And thanks everyone for being a part of these series with all four sessions. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll catch up soon with another interesting series. Thank you.
Uh, once again, thanks a lot for organizing this automation engineer series. It's been very informative. Not only one session, it's from scratch. I can say you have covered all the things related to the automation testing part.
Thank you. Like,
Thanks for the initiative, Palani.
thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you all.
Palani.
It
Great
was
work. Thanks,
thank you.
guys. Thanks, everyone.